all. My name is Jay with Jay Underground Music, and today we'll be talking about the new 2Hollis album, Star. So this was his first record, signed under a label. Everything else before this was strictly independent. So this is his first contribution under a major record label. His previous few records I went through, checked out. They're very atmospheric, and that's very much what I was receiving from this album when I was listening through it. We have 15 tracks, and starting off with the beginning, it's just an intro, building up the energy for that album, giving us a lot of glimpses into more of what we will be hearing, just the build up of, that EDM kind of sound that he likes to go for. And then right after that, we have Flash, which hits super hard, comes in very strong. Has a really great progression to it throughout the song. It just feels like it's building more and more energy. But the end of it was kind of unnecessary for me. I felt as if it dragged it out a little too long. Decent track in my opinion. I definitely see something I would go back and listen to a little more. But it's the second track of the album, so there's no big worries there. Following that, we have Cope. It's an interpolation of Heroes by Alesso. Very interesting pull. It doesn't sound half bad. He realistically could have done more with it. I would have liked to see him kind of use it a bit more. It kind of feels like he was more so just nodding towards that song as opposed to doing a whole deep dive into it. But that was a really good one. It's chill. It doesn't go anywhere, which does suck. It was a little underwhelming in my opinion, but still a pretty good track. I just don't see myself going back to that one too much. Next track is You. Finally, we get the Minecraft fireworks sound coming through. The 2Hollis we know. Fantastic. This was great. It went somewhere. It built up a little bit, but the lyrics were just kind of meh for me. So despite it being our first instance of that Minecraft fireworks showing up in the review, it wasn't for me. Now after that, we have Tell Me, which is really interesting. He kind of creeps into talking about mortality and whatnot, and keeping a tight circle around him. He's scared, of outside sources and what can go on in this world. So it's really interesting seeing him dive into such a topic. A lot of the time it's just these loud dubstep sounding tracks, and he's kind of just saying whatever, mostly relationship-based stuff. But this was a really interesting spin where he's trying to dive more into the side of what bothers him on a day-to-day, what's hitting him now that the fame is kind of here. And I think this was probably the best up until this point. It builds up really well towards the end, and I was a big fan of this one. Definitely one of my favorites from the album. After that, we have Destroy Me, which sadly doesn't really follow up Tell Me too well. It doesn't do much for me. It was repetitive, and personally I think it could have been left off the album. It just doesn't go anywhere and doesn't build towards anything. It's one of those tracks. There's a couple tracks on this album where you'll hear the next song and it's like, we could have just used that, left the previous track off the album, but regardless, still a pleasant listen. And then right after that, we have Burn. This is that first instance I'm talking about, because this was super fun, very positive, had great energy to it, and he kind of keeps throwing in these outros of speaking to the listener, and I don't hate them, but kind of continues on this track. I don't really see a theme with the album's outros or anything. I think he's just trying to build something. I would like to see in his next album him try and really hone in on that, as opposed to just throwing it at the end of his tracks and hoping for the best. But that was also one of the better tracks on the album. After that, we have Girl, and the 808s on that were just assaulting my ears. Just boom, huge. It was a lot. It kind of loses the flow of the song eventually. I feel like he didn't quite grasp it as much as he could have, but still, it was a pretty fantastic song. I was thoroughly impressed, And as we get to the back half of the album here, we get Dream Rain Sports, which acts as somewhat of an interlude. No vocals, nothing, but the energy is heavy, and there's some really cool like engine samples throughout, so that's fun. And then after that, we have Nice. He's entering his soft boy era on this one. He's like, I can be a nice guy, you know, I could be mean, but tonight I feel like I'm being nice. I get what he's going for, but it kind of comes off in a very corny way. Yeah, it just sounds a little corny, which is okay, but I don't know, there's no bite to it. It's like, I could be a jerk, I could be a mean guy, but tonight I'm gonna be cool. I don't know. Whatever, I get it. After that, we have Nerve, which is more complex than the previous track because there's actually something going for this one. It's more lovey lyrics. He's like, if I die now, in the next life, I'll know your name. So that's cool. You know, he's diving more into the relationship side of things and kind of just being like so attached to this person that it's like, hey, even if we don't make it all the way, or one of us loses our lives in this lifetime, what's it matter? You're so impactful that you're gonna make it in my next life. This is delivered much better than the previous one. It feels more heartfelt and sweet than it comes across corny. Like I think this is the way you should approach the last track. It's another one of those instances where I feel the previous track we didn't need that, you know? And then this is the one. It's really weird. I don't know how that thought process went. I don't know if you hear the one song and then heard the next one. It was like, yeah, these are two completely different songs, but to me it sounds like this is just a step up of the previous song, like we saw earlier on in the album. After that, we have Ego. Once again, it's not really like a song. It's like vocals kind of like providing some insight into his anger and like not liking someone. Not much to say about this one. Not really interlude, just kind of, it's there. I don't know. It's just building the theme, which I like. I like that. Just not much to say about it, really. Sidekick. Top 3 of the album for me, for sure. I remember the first time I heard it. It's a very short track, but it came in and I was like, this is it. This is the one. Couple notes from it. It's super short, like I said, but it's incredibly hard. It's all up in your ears, and it has the energy to it. I wish it wasn't like, it's like a minute 10, a minute 20, something like that. Definitely wish there was like another verse on there. He built on that track, considering it was one of my favorites from the album, but whatever, it happens. I'll still go back to it. After that is Eldest Child. Completely left field, not for 2Hollis per se, but for this album and the trajectory it's going into, to just switch up in such a fashion. Eldest Child is it's beautiful. I would love more of this kind of stuff from Hollis. It's very heartfelt, and talking about the eldest child of the two and what they have to go through and the difference that can be from like the youngest child. It was very, very passionate and heartfelt, and that's probably one of the rawest instances I've seen 2Hollis really get into it. And we hear him do these like stretched out vocals where you can tell he's really trying to get into like his sing-songy kind of vibe, which could definitely be good in the future, so I'm looking out for more of that. After that, we are closing out with Safe. Yeah, Safe. He just wants someone to tell him he's safe, just maybe. I feel like for this one, you definitely need to go and listen to it to kind of grasp what I'm getting at, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's all right. Yeah, it really didn't do much for me at all. Yeah, that was the 2Hollis Star album review. You know, like I've said, there were some really good big standout songs, and then there were some repetitive ones. As a whole, I feel like this might be my favorite project from him. I would like to see something more concise, because even though it is just 15 songs, there are a couple songs in there that's just like did we really need this? It didn't contribute much to the album. If I had to rate it, I guess I would give it like a 6.6, 6.9, somewhere in there. Pleasant listen. Just too many songs that don't really do it for me. But yeah, that was the 2Hollis album review. Thank you very much.